Hello, and welcome to the Full Send Half Mast podcast, episode 13. Tonight we're going to talk about all the races that happened this weekend with the World Endurance Championship. We have Formula One, Formula Two, IndyCar at Barber. We have NASCAR at Dover. We're going to go over the point standings for all of these series. We're also going to do our Driver of the Week, Bonehead of the Week segments. And we have some extra topics we want to talk about as we go on. First of all, how are you doing tonight, Tom?
I am sitting here in beautiful Birmingham, Alabama. Welcome to my hotel room. I brought my setup this week, uh traveling for work. So I am here. I'm ready to talk about some racing and have a good time. I need to do something anyways if I'm just sitting in a hotel room. Most of the time I'm just sitting on my phone or something. So this is cool.
Yeah, I'm super excited to talk about some racing. We got some amazing races this weekend. Just an amazing slate, just in general, with all of the different races that we had going on. First off, though, we're gonna take a quick word from our sponsor, Dubby. Dubby Energy, introducing Neurofactor, an all-natural coffee cherry extract to help fuel you with energy, laser focus, and fast reflexes. Provides focus and concentration with important aminos and vitamins without the crash of ordinary canned energy drinks. Try amazing flavors such as Dragonade, Dub Sludge, Galaxy Grenade, and my personal favorite, Beach and Peach. Buy the starter pack now, including 2 flavors and a shake cup for an extremely low price. Follow the link in the description and use promo code DEGABOYS for 10% off your order. Thanks to Dubby for their continued sponsorship of Dega Boys broadcasting. Alrighty. So, first off, we'll start kind of chronologically in order with the races here. Um, Before that, though, I would like to go over some of the news that we've had reported this week. First of all, Jake Finch, congratulations to him, winning a side by side epic battle with Landon Lewis in the ARCA East race at Dover, the General Tire 125. I don't know if you caught the finish of that, but that was just an insane green white checker there.
Yeah, I didn't, but I do know that Landon Lewis is the second place king right now for all of the ARCA series. Um, Pretty much 4 second place races in a row. I mean, that's just he's the Mark Martin of that series right now. But besides the point, congratulations to the winner. That was some great racing from what I heard from you, Jay. So I need to catch more of that.
Yeah, it was an exciting finish. The race, I mean, it's Dover. We'll get more into that as we go, but overall great finish. I believe they'll put the broadcast up on NBC and Peacock here in another week so you can rewatch it live. Anybody out there that's interested in the Arc E series. Also, news today, breaking news actually. Legacy Motor Club, Jimmy Johnson bought them last year, or bought a huge majority stake from Richard Petty and Maury Gallagher. Decided to switch to Toyota from Chevy starting next season. What are your thoughts on them switching to Toyota here?
I think that it's great for the team to go in a different direction. Change is always good. I mean, if anything, you learn from it, right? And we have seen Legacy expand from 1 to 2 cars again, and not really having the results that they want. They've snuck in a couple good results, but nothing to be proud of, or nothing like what they showed last year with Eric Jones at the helm. So I think that change is good. I think it's good for Toyota to have some sort of like a Toro Rosso type of deal to Joe Gibbs, and maybe just have it be like a stepping stone where they still produce competitive cars, but it's more of a stepping stone to Joe Gibbs Racing. And I think Joe Gibbs Racing needs that too, because currently, really, all they have is the Xfinity series. And last podcast, we talked about how the Xfinity series doesn't even match up to the Cup series anymore in terms of driving styles. It more matches with the Truck series. So I think this is a great direction for Toyota. I think it's a great direction and change for Legacy. I think it's a great thing all around, and I don't think that there is any cons to this at all. I don't understand why people may be mad or disappointed in this at all.
I think that Chevy in NASCAR is a little oversaturated in the Cup Series. Toyota
Yeah,
doesn't have the numbers in NASCAR, and which doesn't just affect, like people are saying, the racing aspect of it. It's not even just the racing. It's these drivers don't that come up through the developmental series through ARCA, Truck, and Xfinity. Once they get done with that, they've got to go find a new manufacturer. Once they get to Cup Series, they got to jump ship to
yeah,
Ford, jump ship to Chevy. They lose all of their connections to Toyota right away, and Toyota can't retain any of these great drivers they have coming up. And I think that this is a big step for them. I also think it's huge for Legacy Motor Club. Like I said, with the oversaturation with Chevy, now Toyota's going to invest more money into their team, and then they won't be like the sixth best Chevy team anymore. They're going to be like the second, maybe third best Toyota team. So I believe that Toyota, and we've seen with Toyota in the past, they invest highly in their teams. As long as they don't allow like third party things to get involved or sponsorship issues to fall apart. But they've been able to invest mostly pretty successfully with their teams. And Toyota, just in general, over the entire world racing, has invested a lot of money. So this is a big win for both here. And I'm excited to see what the future holds for Legacy Motor Club.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
also today, Kyle Larson got his seat fitting for his McLaren IndyCar ride for the 2024 Indianapolis 500. I am super excited for this. I hope that not just Larson does it. I would like to see Kyle Busch do it in the same race that Larson does next year. I think that would be freaking awesome.
Yeah, and the last time we had a Cup Series driver do it, he got a fantastic result there, um, and then blew a motor in the 600. But it's I think that's the change between the Cup driving and then going back to IndyCar, then going to Cup driving or whatever. There has to be a correlation there because uh, you know Tony Stewart always ran good there. Comes over to NASCAR, does pretty good. Kurt Busch went and did a very good job. So I'm excited to see Kyle Larson. I'm excited to see if maybe even Kyle Busch can get a ride. That'd be really exciting too.
I think that seeing Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson, if they did it in the same race, I think both of them would push each other to do better, to be able to
Yeah.
be the one guy to win the double. Because I think they're both very capable of doing it, and they would both potentially have really quality rides if they decided to do that.
Mm.
So, um, we just need to get Kyle Busch to find a deal and put it together. Because now that he's not bound to the whole Toyota Joe Gibbs thing, and now that he's with RCR, they'd be way more open to him trying something like that, I believe. So
Yeah,
let's
I agree.
see where that goes from there. But super exciting news there for Kyle Larson, super exciting news for IndyCar, and super excited news for all of us racing fans, no matter what you enjoy. This is awesome. Okay, so now we'll go through the races this weekend. We had a huge slate. We had ARCA, East, Xfinity, and Cup at Dover, F1, F2 at Azerbaijan, and we had Indy NXT at Barber, and we had the WEC World Endurance Championship at Spa-Francorchamps. And so the first race to happen this weekend was 6 hours, the total energy 6 hours of Spa. We saw Toyota start in the front of this race. One of their cars was on pole, the other one had to go to the rear. We saw them start on wet conditions, so it turned into a survival mode as they stayed on the dry tires. Very interesting race to start. Toyota was the dominant team here. Cadillac and Ferrari were about second and third best, but not competitive with Toyota. So this was Toyota's race to win, lose, no matter how you looked at it. And then we saw in the hypercar division, we saw the Cadillac of Van der Sande, who's also teammates with Bourdais. They also run here in the US and IMSA. We saw the Cadillac just race fall apart at the seams here, just an hour and a half into the race, running with the Ferraris in second place. So we'll let this clip play. This wreck here um was very, very, very violent. So we'll play that now.
Frines is on the same strategy as Kvyat, then that's a genuine speed difference between the two cars. We picked up on it earlier on, and now this is the Ferrari battle with the number 3.
That's the caddy.
Cadillac,
the Ferraris are a lap behind, but look at the pace they've got. And by the way, the Aston Martin you just saw coming out.
Oh, the Cadillac is a big one in the Rouge, big one.
Safety car will be out because that is not going to be
Just destroyed.
That is the number 3 Cadillac of Renger van der Zande from second
What a
place.
spectacular wreck.
The Ferrari taking a bit of air off the back of the car.
No.
Big shunt. Under the big grandstand.
I mean,
question at all.
when I see that, like, carnage, it just gives me some of those really crazy flashbacks there of some of the violent wrecks that we've seen guys get injured in the past with. I mean, he got out and he was so frustrated. He wasn't even hurt or anything, just frustrated that that his race was done. His team was physically frustrated with the performance because they were on par to run on a podium position, running right there with the Ferraris. Not that they were going to really compete with the Toyotas. They pretty much dominated from green flag to checker flag. But that wreck took them completely out of the race, ruined their entire chance, and he was just super frustrated. The team was frustrated, and he walked away from that accident. So awesome to see that. We also saw another wreck later in the race. We saw Francisco Castellacci in the AF Force GTE car make contact with Jacques Villeneuve, who was in a Vanwall hypercar, and this was a little over halfway through the race. I know me and Tom disagree about this, but we'll talk about that here after we show this clip here.
When you clear him, don't speed up.
From a different camera angle.
This is from the back of the Glickenhaus.
That's a good shot.
6 of one,
That's a good
half
shot.
a dozen of the other.
I was trying to put myself in the position of what would I have done. Common spot window there, Martin. Yeah, that I'm sure is going to give him.
As you see, I'll give my opinion first, and then I'll let you shoot your opinion because I like the point that you bring up here. In my opinion, I'm getting really into sports car racing, endurance racing. I'm starting to learn a lot more of the like etiquette and stuff that goes on with a lot of these foreign and Europe races. I'm not super accustomed to it. But in my opinion, seeing this, Villeneuve has the preferred line on the inside there of the GTE car, way faster, makes the move around him, and then the GTE car proceeds to just completely run down the track and take him offline, and they both make contact, destroys both of their races. My opinion, I feel like the fault is completely on the GTE car. Should have been way more aware of his surroundings and not cut down across the front of Villeneuve. And Villeneuve was very frustrated with it. And I mean, that's, in my opinion, that's the way I see it. What's your opinion, Tom?
Yeah, so I know that the GTE car there was battling with another GTE car, and there was 2 hypercars there. That onboard camera showing a pretty good angle of that accident there. But what I think really happened there was that GTE car was trying to get the draft off of that hypercar that had the camera on, the view that we saw. And so what he did was, after he let that hypercar pass, he tried to get back in line and catch back up to that GTE he lost a little bit of ground to, and took it a little bit too far and made contact. Now, another thing is that hypercar coming up behind the GTE was coming so fast, and it's not like any of the other series that we cover. These guys don't have spotters. It's all about checking mirrors, and actually some of those cars, they do have video cameras going, kind of like what we see in the Cup series now. I can't remember which series actually does that though. I'd have to get back on you with that, but besides the point, I just feel like the hypercar, to no fault of his own, Villeneuve, was just coming way fast. The GTE car was more focused on trying to catch back up to the car in front of him, that other GTE car, and he was really worried about his own battle. And not really paying attention to the battle that the hypercar that just passed him was in. I give that credit there. But in my opinion, I think it's more of a very unfortunate racing accident than I don't think there's any malicious intent at all. I just think that was just either um, just a blank-headed move. He wasn't thinking, or circumstances were just way too fast and it just went awry.
All right, I like that opinion. I still put most of the blame on the GTE of Castellacci, but I like your opinion and it clears up, especially with not having spotters. That makes a lot more sense why that was an issue in this race. From there, we saw, like I mentioned, Toyota was the car to beat, started on pole, and this team car started dead last in hypercar, drove all the way through the field, finished second to the pole sitting Toyota. So they go 1-2 with the Ferrari going third to round out your podium there in hypercar. And then you had in the LMP2 class, you had the number 41 WRT win. And then, cool story here, in the GTE class, you had the Richard Mille AF Course Ferrari win the race with Lilo Wado, who is the first woman to win a World Endurance Championship race ever. So, congratulations to all women racers out there to have some type of hero to aspire to, and also giving credit to a woman driver that, as in recent past, have been struggling. So it's good to see that finally one was able to break through and win something of this magnitude, right? Spa, one of my
Yeah.
favorite courses in the world. It's such an awesome venue, scenic, and a very technical track. And she did her stints, and her car was fast, her team was fast, her co-drivers are fast, and they end up getting her first win. So congratulations to her. Congratulations to Toyota dominating 1-2. Probably the car to beat going into Le Mans here in next month. So keep your eyes out on that. And also one more point I want to make. World Endurance Championship, it's a paid subscription. You download the app, WEC FIA TV. You have to pay $45 for the season, or you can spend $7 for a race. Unfortunately, though, they do not showcase the 24-hour Le Mans or Sebring in the United States. I don't understand what. I think it was like geo-blocking or something is the factor there. I don't understand why that's a thing. If you're going to pay for a $45 a season subscription, you'd expect to be able to see all the races, but nope. You're not going to be able to. You're going to have to find a way to pirate it now because they can't get it in the United States on their own service that they sell to you. That's like ridiculous. It's like getting NBA TV, but you can't watch the Jazz game because you can't watch it in your region when you pay for all the games under an umbrella platform for that series. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I am frustrated with that. And if I were you, I would just not buy it. I would just wait a week after the race is done. They'll put the full race on YouTube and just do it that way. So it's just tough if you want to watch it live like I do, because I'm really into sports car racing right now and I can't watch the 24-hour Le Mans on their service. So, all right, we'll move on from there. We'll go straight into the Xfinity Series A Game 200. And one word sums this up: dominance. Dominance by Ryan Truex. Wins stage 1, stage 2, wins the race. First career win for Ryan Truex. Super excited for him. What are your thoughts? Ryan Truex getting the win here. Finally, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was awesome. I think that him getting his win, well, not only his first win, but doing it on a limited schedule at his home track, and then the next day his brother wins. I think that is so cool, man. That's like fairy tale weekend. In my opinion, if I was a Truex for that weekend, or if I was his dad, or family member, or whatever, I'd still be on cloud 9 right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well deserving, very emotional in his post race interview. You could tell that it would meant a lot for him to win a race, and he said he's looking to make a full-time ride next year, and I hope he gets one because nobody's worked as hard as him to get this first win, really, since like a Ross Chastain, right? Like he's kind of got
Yeah.
this Ross
He
Chastain trajectory right now. So
he
congratulations to
deserves
him.
it too.
Oh yeah. During this race, though, we saw Corey Heim make his Xfinity Series debut. A lot of hype racing for Sam Hunt Racing. I believe he's a great driver. I haven't really seen him do anything to prove me wrong. I haven't seen him get in any feuds or fights or anything like that to really do anything boneheaded. But this weekend, he just pulled out the clown hat and just decided to full send Parker Kligerman, and we will let that tape roll.
Just tags him in the left rear, just barely enough to send him around. And there's not much room to go spin.
Now, it
up
looks
here.
bad from that
Really
angle until you see
ran
this
over,
one.
But you come off the corner, get tagged like that. You look at Parker in there wheeling it.
Oh, it's just he turned right. Just stopped him.
Give him a chance, but Corey Heim, he's going to be the guy in the same situation there with the way the banking works.
Just absolutely ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, Parker Kligerman is like the cleanest driver ever. Like, you never see him get into anybody, like, rarely. And then you have this rookie who's not running for points or anything, making his debut at Dover, just completely drives through him. Like, didn't lift, didn't try to turn down the track, just drove straight through Parker Kligerman. I mean, what's going on here? What are we doing?
I just find that really comical. If he's pretty fast in the truck series. We've seen that he gets this opportunity with Toyota to go and race an Xfinity race. Now, for most drivers, you have a couple of baselines that you want to do that with. You want to learn the car in the short amount of time that you have. You want to have a clean race, and you want to finish the race. You don't want to create any issues or whatever. Now, I am going to give Corey Heim benefit of the doubt because, like I said on the podcast before, how different the trucks are from the Xfinity car. This guy didn't have a lot of practice as well. And he is a rookie. We have to take that into account. And he didn't do it really at the best track. Like, let's be honest, Dover is a driver's track. It is not, a beginner's track at all. But, this wreck here, I just find kind of comical because he just didn't even try. He just said screw it and just I just think it's hilarious. I do.
It's just it's funny, but I mean, the lack
Sucks
of
for Kligerman, for
self-awareness
sure.
by Corey Heim. I mean, he has literally nothing to race for. He's literally
nothing.
getting an opportunity handed to him to just get experience. And I mean, you lift out of the throttle there, you lose 3 spots. Nobody's gonna fucking care. I mean,
Yeah.
like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing here? Wrecking a guy for points. I mean, he's contending for points, and there's just, I mean, you finish. I mean, it's your rookie year. This result means nothing at the end of the day, and
Yep.
yeah, it's just you don't want to be the headline. you wanna
Yep,
just finish
yep.
the race and not have
Yep.
any incidents, like you said. So yeah, this is bad look for Corey Heim, and hopefully he could turn this around here in the near future. All right, so I believe that covers everything in the Xfinity Series race. Yep, that pretty much covers that.
Yeah.
There was kind of I mean, Xfinity Series always puts on a good show, but I mean, I guess
Well, the
there
only
is one more
person-
thing I want to talk about is Sheldon Creed. Sheldon Creed again.
Yeah.
Again. Rex running in a contention for a win. And this one just sums up his entire season and potentially the beginning of the downfall of his complete career. I mean, his progression to the Xfinity series was just dominance. Like absolutely dominated, obliterated ARCA, obliterated trucks, gets into the Xfinity series with all this hype with a really good team and runs up front, contends for wins, and just can't win. Just can't win. Seeing this live made me so infuriating that I turned red and was screaming at the TV, Sheldon Creed again? Like, again? How many times are we going to see this guy around or in the wall? Or, I mean, I don't even know what to say anymore. I can't even put it into words how I feel right now.
Yeah, and the incident that took place this weekend wasn't even really, you know, anything to his fault at all. Um, it was just a product of three wide racing, but the point I think we're trying to make here is no matter where you put this guy, no matter what car you can put him in right now, bad luck will find him. Even if, he's going to be leading the race, he's going to blow a tire or there's going to be a caution flag with 5 to go and he's going to lose it. Something to no fault of him. Bad luck is just going to find him.
It makes me wonder if all that dominance that he had early in his career is now catching up to him. Now he's catching all the bad luck. Maybe it's just going to be this season. He's going to have all this bad luck and then he won't have any more ever again. I don't know. It's just Lady Luck is just against him right now, and it doesn't matter what he does or what car he has, it's going to find him. And I don't want to see this be the end of Sheldon Creed's career. I think he's got a lot of talent. I know he has a lot of talent. He's shown it. He's a very talented race car driver. Probably one of your top 4 in the entire Xfinity series. I'd put him right up there with Austin Hill, Chandler Smith. Those that's the cream of the crop right there. And he's right there with them. And just can't find victory lane like his competitors. So again, we'll have to see what he can do in the next race. It's not this weekend at Kansas. It's next weekend at Darlington. So we'll see what he could do there. Another race that he darn near had won last year until he blew a tire coming off of turn 4 in the lead. So Sheldon Creed, modern day bad luck. I don't know. All right. So that definitely wraps up the Xfinity series. Another great race by the Xfinity series. Always put on a good show. Dover's no exception. Just a few things there that made it interesting. Congratulations again to Ryan Truex for the win. All right, Formula 2 at Baku. We just have to show you this hilarious accident that happened here. We had all the hype built up for Baku. Didn't really live up to it in the F1 race, which we'll talk about. But F2, here we go. Clownery at its finest. I mean, what does this remind you of, right?
Well, first thing that comes to mind is when Tony Stewart had his feud with Scott Speed at Sonoma back in 2011, I think, and then he got sent into the hairpin with the back end of his car up like that. That's what it reminds me of. that one car. But as I was telling you earlier, if you just showed me some normal cars or whatever going through that corner and we watched that accident happen, my first reaction would be, man, that's the most F2 thing ever. If that would be any consolation. But that's just I don't. It's just, I think first place crashed out, second place crashed, third place crashed, and then it comes to a point where, fourth and fifth are duking it out for the win.
Yeah, it's just wild. It reminds me of first thing I thought about was the 2018 Roval race, the first one when you saw Larson
Oh yeah.
and Paul Menard and like William Byron, Brad Keselowski, they're all trying to outbreak each other into one, and they all just full sent into the wall. That's what it reminded me of, and uh, yeah, that just loss of words. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know. That's F2, I guess. And I mean, F2's got a strong field. I mean, I've been watching a lot of the highlights so far this season, and there's been some really competitive races, but it was like clown mode got turned up to max. It looked like again, like the F1 race at Australia a few weeks ago, where they all at that last at the end of the race safety car, just a scenario just like this, and they all full sent into the corner and all took each other out. So, again, it's not just NASCAR. It's every series that does this. Oh, we have another perspective. We'll have to show this one too.
Actually, I have a bone to pick with FIA with that, because you obviously had a multi-car pileup going through turn one. You had an obvious safety concern with the cars coming back around, but then you wait for second place to pass first, and then you throw the caution. What kind of Michael Massey stuff is this? You know, like I don't. What's the point in doing that? I mean, Vesti already had the position. He survived a lot more than what Behrman's survived, you know. And if I was Vesti right now, I feel like I would have been cheated.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this in all types of racing, though. We've seen this in NASCAR. Just look back at 2021 COTA race. I mean, you had Alex Bowman out on waiting the rain out, stretching his fuel run to the absolute maximum because the rain, it's pouring rain. He's leading the race, pits because now they're going to run it to the end. As he pits, Elliott cycles to lead. Elliott wins the race. So, I mean, we've seen this in NASCAR as well. I mean, the theatrics, who they want to win. And it was the storyline here with Behrman. 17-year-old looking for his first Formula 2 victory. I mean, it's all about the storyline, you know? So at the end of the day, your maker is your master, and the master made who they wanted to win in that race.
Yeah.
We've seen it before in multiple racing series. So, I mean, and look, and even with Kurt Busch at Daytona, NASCAR said, we're going to go green. So Kurt Busch decides to pit as the rain's coming.
Yeah.
And then Justin Haley gets his first career win.
Justin Haley won.
So, I mean, it's just, that's racing, I guess. I mean, they're going to determine who wins and who doesn't. So, yeah, like I said, Ollie Behrman wins both the sprint race and the feature race at Baku. First win ever in Formula 2 for him, 17-year-old. Next we'll go straight into the Formula 1 race. Leclerc, we saw win pole for both the sprint and the feature event here. We saw Russell and Verstappen battling in the sprint race, and they made contact, and Verstappen and Russell were, I guess Verstappen more than Russell was frustrated with how that went. They got into a pretty heated argument on conversation on pit road. Verstappen was very frustrated with Russell's move. Ultimately, Verstappen was able to get back to third in that sprint race. Perez ended up winning it. I called it last week. I thought Perez would win the weekend. He didn't win pole, didn't get fast lap or anything, but he won both races. So cuts that lead down. Like you mentioned with the F2 race, though, the FIA kind of messed Verstappen up here because Verstappen took the lead on lap 4. Then we see De Vries crash. So Verstappen decided to pit for the safety car because he knew the safety car was coming and to get on the preferred strategy. And at this time, he pits, loses all that time to Perez, who stayed out. Perez was able to speed up to the safety car, pit, gets back onto the safety car, leaped Verstappen for the lead, never looked back, won the race. And Verstappen, I guess it wouldn't have really been FIA that messed him up there. I think that would be more team orders. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would.
So, I guess, which is interesting. I mean, that's the one tough part about F1 racing is the team orders. You can only get one. Can't really double stack pit stops. I mean, I guess you can, but I mean, it doesn't really benefit you at all. So, Perez, I think, was the best car anyway and deserved to win. He probably would have won regardless if they raced it out at the end there. But just the fact that Verstappen didn't really get a fighting chance because then he had to restart third behind Leclerc again and then have to overtake him and then have to run down Perez, who was already faster. Just a tough scenario for Verstappen. Finished P2 to his teammate. Just Red Bulls are dominant. And then Leclerc getting Ferrari's first podium of the year. The fourth driver this season to get a podium. And that Fernando Alonso finished fourth, one spot short of getting another podium with that Aston Martin. I mean, what were your thoughts on the F1 race? Do you have anything to add to that?
I was just disappointed in terms of the lack of drama, I guess, or on track action. Because, like, in our last podcast, I was telling you, Baku is a race that you circle on your calendar for a chance to get a really good finish. We didn't see the Alpines anywhere, and I was like super hyped that, hey, this is Gasly's time to get a podium. There's going to be more races too down the road. You can circle your calendar, but Baku is one of the first that you can do. But I mean, we didn't see him. We didn't see really. I mean, anything out of the Mercedes, specifically Hamilton. That dude's losing it, I think. I've never really been a Hamilton fan, anyways. Maybe that's something we can talk about during some off weeks or something, talking about some F1 drivers, but I was expecting something out of Hamilton this weekend. It's just kind of and that's kind of been his prerogative this season. Or actually this season he was spewing come back better, and we're going for championships. We're back. Mercedes is back. But man, we haven't even seen Hamilton. But this is a first for the Baku race. I boring is a bad word to describe it. It was just not as eventful as years prior.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a bad race by any means. Like, boring is not a good word for it. I think uneventful is the perfect word. So, I mean, I enjoyed it for the most part. The first 20 laps or so of this race were very entertaining. Watching Verstappen get the lead, then you see the debris caution, safety car deployed. You see the lead swap between Perez and Verstappen. You see Leclerc mixing it up with them, and then I mean, once Perez got the lead, Verstappen got to second for the last 31 laps. Really, it was just the only battle you watched on the track was to see if Alonso could get by Leclerc, really, for that podium, and never was able to do it. Leclerc, I mean, he deserved a podium, qualifying pole, had the pace. I mean, there's more pace I've seen out of any Ferrari. Really been getting outperformed by his teammate Sainz all season long. So it was good for him. And with that being said, I want to also talk about Lance Stroll right here. I don't know if you'd agree with this or not, but I think that Fernando Alonso is not well past his prime, but he's on the downward swipe. Like, his prime's here and he's like down here, like sliding down it. And Stroll has the performance isn't there, right? You see Fernando running three straight podiums, getting fourth here at Baku, and where's Stroll? Stroll DNFs two of them. Then he runs like 7th to 8th in the other two. It's like, he's got a fast car, and why isn't he getting the performances? I don't think he's cut out for this ride.
Yeah, we all know the reason why he's there. It's because, daddy's money. But, I mean, you have an opportunity to go and fight for podiums with your teammate, and we're not seeing that at all. Like, we consistently see Alonso mixing it up, P3, P2, P4. We're seeing Stroll, what's his? highest finishing position this year is 5th, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
So he's racing 5th through 9th, in the same equipment. I would like to think that Stroll's dad is giving him the better equipment because obviously he's a little biased, So I don't know, or maybe Fernando Alonso finally started producing some good knee pads or something. I don't know, and I don't think that there is. I don't, man. Alonso is a driver. Stroll is a seat filler. And that's just kind of how I feel about it right now. And it's unfortunate because some really talented drivers can fill Stroll's seat and do better.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But I guess now we'll just take a look at the F1 points. I mean, really, it's a two guy race for the championship. It's the two Red Bulls. Verstappen was up by 15 over Perez. Perez was able to cut that lead down to 6. He gained 9 points on Verstappen this weekend. And then I threw Alonso up there because he is the guy that got the other 3 podiums. He's at 60 points. He's 33 back. Mathematically, he's not out of it. Really, mathematically, nobody's out of it, just depending on the Red Bull struggles. But really, realistically, he's out of it. I think we're setting up for, as we said before, like one of those Verstappen or one of those Hamilton Rosberg-esque championship battles down the stretch. Red Bull's up by 93 points in the Constructors' Championship over Aston Martin. So that is basically getting close to mathematically unbeatable. You have Mercedes and Ferrari nipping on the heels of the Aston, both respectively within 21 points. So the battle for second is going to be very interesting between those 3 teams. And that's really all I've got for the Formula One race this weekend. They will race again. We'll cover that here in a little bit this weekend as well. Indy NXT, the Firestone Grand Prix of Alabama. We had the winner of this race was Christian Rasmussen, led flag to flag, dominant performance. Good for him. And then we had Jacob Abel and Matteo Nannini have contact coming towards the start-finish line here in this race. We'll show that clip now.
You could go. I think Nannini needed to give him more room.
He didn't want me to stay there, so he just decided to turn across.
Yeah, I would agree that Jacob Abel has reason to cry foul there.
Now, the other argument of that would be when you are on the outside exiting a corner, you do so at your own risk.
However, Nannini starts giving Abel room, but is pointed to the normal racing line. And like the replay we had looking down the front straight.
So a lot like
he starts there, and then he
Corey
just
Haim and Parker Kligerman, right?
Wheel to rear wheel.
You have two guys going for the same bit of real estate here, but just a lack of one awareness, lack of skill, lack of respect. I don't know what to claim this one to, but in my opinion, if someone has that far of a nose to one side of your car or the other, I mean, I feel like you got to give them room, show them respect, especially at those speeds and how dangerous these cars are, even with the new aero top on them. I mean, what are your thoughts on Nannini? I think this is just boneheaded on him. I completely, absolutely uncalled for.
Yeah, I agree too. And we're not European open wheel racing. We are North American open wheel racing, and there's different sets of rules. We heard the announcer say that when you go on the outside, speaking of Abel, when you go on the outside, you basically relent that position to the car on the inside. But that's European open wheel racing. That's really European style racing. We're talking about a guy who is American, and we're talking about a guy who is South American. So and and correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe any European racing experience. And I'm pretty sure they're both rookies too.
Yeah.
So, um, you can chalk this up to a lot of things. You can chalk it up to driver awareness. You can chalk it up to, man, these guys are just a bunch of rookies. Besides the fact, I think a lot of the blame goes on the 75 of Nannini there, not giving the space that that was required for that outside car, and ultimately ended his day and ended the guy ended Abel's day as well. So not a lot of return on investment there, and the 75 car taking a big L, I think, in that position.
100% agree. And you'll hear more of that as we get to one of our favorite segments here later on. All right. The next race of the weekend was the IndyCar Children's of Alabama Grand Prix. We had Romain Grosjean qualify on pole. And unfortunately, he decides to do a two-stop strategy, which ultimately didn't work out, and finishes P2 to McLaughlin, who gets his fourth career win in the series, first of the season, 4 different winners, 4 different races. What about Grosjean coming up just short? Again, as you mentioned, with Landon Lewis being the modern day Mark Martin, Grosjean.
Yeah. Grosjean is just he's just clicking off those races. I mean, his time's coming. It's gonna happen. It's like, you remember when Kyle Larson was chasing his first win, and it's second place after second place after second place. He finally wins one, and then he knows what to do. He starts winning more races, and then champion. I think we're probably witnessing something similar with Grosjean in the IndyCar series.
Yeah, I was very, very excited when he was leading the most of the race, and then he got ahead of McLaughlin there after his final stop, and then McLaughlin ran him back down, passed him, and just kind of set sail for the last 19 laps to win the race. And dang it. Maybe next week for Grosjean. Maybe the month of May. Can you see Grosjean? Can you imagine if he wins his first ever race on an oval at the Indy 500? We're in the month of May. Best month of this month right here is the motorsports Christmas right here. The slate of races we have this month. It's like being a kid in a candy store. Like, I am excited. It's like a drunk at a liquor store right here. I am stoked for this month. Yeah. This is just awesome. So, I don't know. I might be precursing something here. I might have just wished all of the bad announcer luck onto Grosjean. He might just struggle this month, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. So now we have the Cup race, which was Monday because of rain. The Worth 400. Kyle Busch gets pole, leads to the comp caution, gets a speeding penalty, then gets involved in a wreck with BJ McLeod and Ty Dillon, yes, and Suarez, which is unfortunate for Suarez. We'll see here in a minute with the points how that affects him. Caution on lap 81 before stage 1's end. Ross Chastain back at it again, being the Chastain we all know, we all love. We'll let the footage roll.
Brennan Poole got together. Poole in the 15 this week for Rick Ware race.
See Brennan Poole passing Austin Dillon. Oh, Chastain got in the back of him. Slid
up
right
he
up
comes.
in front of him, right in his lap.
And just as Larson slid up the track last week at Talladega in front of Ryan Preece, well, same song, different verse.
Well, it'll be another week of Twitter and putting the pressure on, blaming it on Chastain. Unfortunately, I don't think that was needed right there. You can't get into him getting into the corner, Rusty. Cars are light, and you're for sure going to go around.
Yeah, that was a pretty hard impact. So Chastain, thoughts from you, I guess. I want to hear what you have to say.
So I'm not defending Chastain at all. Because in reality, you need to look at it as this. You need to run a clean race, save your stuff for the end, and finish the race, right? So he was bulldogging his way through the field, and then going to turn 1, you did see the 15 car lift a little bit earlier than normal. You expect that with some, lower tiered, lower ranked teams because they don't have the type of equipment these guys have. And so I don't think that Ross predicted that enough. I don't think he really should have been in the mindset of, holy crap, I need to get around this car. Because it is stage 1. I think it was, 38 laps to go? Yeah, 38 laps to go in stage 1. But he does hit him, spins him around, unfortunately collects Larson, and that whole Hendrick fan base.
Yeah, see, that's the problem right there.
Yeah.
You just hit the
You just
nail
can't
on
do
the head.
that. There's no other fan base like a Hendrick fan base, and I'm more speaking on the Chase Elliott side. We're talking about, people who don't know a single lick about racing coming to NASCAR races just to get, just to drink beer and be crazy and just to not have any sort of racing analysis or, knowledge or anything, just to go out and say, yeah, Ross Chastain just being a melonhead, Could you imagine if that was Chase Elliott that he did that to?
Yeah.
I mean,
Nobody would
we'd
even
be having,
care. Wouldn't even be having this conversation.
we'd be having civil unrest because of the Elliott fans coming out of the woodworks.
Oh, you're meaning if
I mean,
Elliott got wrecked instead of Larson.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. If Elliott got wrecked instead of Larson, I mean, we'd have the banjo players with one strap overalls coming out of the Appalachians, coming and trying to get an interview, trying to tell everybody how Ross Chastain is the worst driver in NASCAR history.
Oh, yeah.
Because they heard from Meemaw about what happened at Dover. And so there's a lot of things happening here. It was dumb. It was stupid. I can't disagree with, and it was stage 1. There's no need for that, but yeah, that was dumb.
I'm gonna take it one step further here. I mean, yes, it's definitely a boneheaded move, but at this point, I've just accepted Chastain for who Chastain is, and we, as racing fans, need to just embrace Chastain and just love it. Because without Chastain, this race really had nothing. I mean, yeah, Chastain and Truex put on a well of a fight here, and Chastain and Byron also at one point had a great fight here. But Chastain is Chastain, national treasure, bending rules. I mean, he didn't even get a speeding penalty in Vegas because he goes off in the grass and passes like 2 cars, exploiting the rules. I mean, we saw what he did at Martinsville, at Indianapolis Road Course last year. I mean, Chastain is just Chastain. And if you don't appreciate Chastain, even if it might take out your favorite driver, even if it might cost them positions, even if, I mean, it's just an absolute blatantly terrible move, I mean, you just got to appreciate it. I mean, nobody else is doing this stuff. At least not at the level Chastain does it, because Chastain can back it up with his talent. And another thing, too, I don't think anybody in that Cup Garage wants to mess with Chastain. I think Chastain, that farm boy, eyes are pointed like this. I wouldn't want him coming after me.
Yeah.
He's the man.
He's great for NASCAR, and you know what? So is Kyle Busch.
100%.
At the prime of Brad Keselowski in 2012 and 2013, and with all of his hate fans, he was great for NASCAR. Joey Logano in the past recent years, he's been great for NASCAR. The drivers that make the most noise and hurt the most feelings are what is best for NASCAR. And that is because that gets the people talking. It gets more people interested. and more people watching the sport, which is what we need to continue growing. So, um, Chastain, he's just running his course, just like every other driver has been through. He will be the most hated driver once Busch retires, whenever that is. He might even surpass Busch. I could see it. I could see it. He could surpass Busch. Um, but but he's great for NASCAR, and he is a treasure for NASCAR, and we need to protect that man.
I agree. It's always great when the guys with the most personality mess with the guys with the no personality that everybody loves. I love to see it.
Yeah, right.
All right, so again, like we said earlier, Truex has swept the weekend. Martin Truex Jr. breaks the 54 race winless streak, finally gets a dub, and just like Creed, he came out of the darkness of all things going wrong, finally gets a win. Super exciting. We had Chastain, we had Byron, pretty competitive all day with each other. Chastain was in it the whole day, just unfortunately didn't get it done. And career win number 32 for Truex. Maybe he's not done just yet. And did it on 2 tires there at the end while Chastain was on 4.
Oh, that's
cars.
right. That's
So
right. Yeah.
that was very impressive. And again, Truex and Small arguing over the radio, absolutely not getting along. But I think that means that they want it. If you're arguing with each other over the radio, that means you both want it so bad and just can't get it done. And I think it's motivated them to get this victory here.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. It's like running for president, right? And then your vice president has the same views as you. Typically, those types of presidencies aren't really great historically. But I think you can absolutely plug and play that into a driver crew chief role. If you have all flowers and daisies between your driver and crew chief, you're not ready. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson, they were never really great friends. Of course, they won a lot of races. They respected each other, right? But Chad and Jimmy were such leaders in their own minds. Jimmy always believed that his way was the right way, and Chad always his way was the right way. And they always butted heads, whether NASCAR wanted to show it or not. They always butted heads. It just came to light, in the last 2 years of his career because they needed something to talk about. Because we didn't have Ross Chastain in this NASCAR series.
Yeah.
That's all they had. But yeah, that's it, really.
Yeah, that's a great point that you bring up right there for sure. Also, I guess one more comment from the Cup race. We didn't get a radioactive of the week. Just space that segment. So for this, we're just gonna use Ross needs his butt whooped. Brennan Poole. I know we spoiled it, but I think that is fitting for the best quote of the week anyway. And I would like to see him try.
Yeah, right.
So, point standings after Dover, Ross Chastain takes a narrow points lead over Christopher Bell, who's 3 points back in second, and Harvick in his send-off year, final year, running third in points, only 38 back. Cut line, Chase Briscoe had a terrible, terrible race, but Suarez also had a terrible race. Briscoe came in 15th in points, Suarez was 17th, and after it's all said and done, really Suarez lost no points to the cut line after DNFing, only 19 points off of Briscoe, who's 16th. So survival there for Suarez after one of his worst performances this year, wrecking early. All right, so now we'll just go over your driver of the week, bonehead of the week real quick. We'll preview the races, go over our fantasy, and then we will send this one off for the evening. Driver of the week nominees, obvious, Ryan Truex getting his first career Xfinity win. Ollie Behrman getting the win in Formula 2, whether it was fair or not. Still got to give him credit because that's a big accomplishment to win at that level. And then also Christian Lundgaard finishing P6 in IndyCar, qualified 6th, ran 6th all day. Very competitive with that Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan ride. And for our bonehead move of the week, we have Corey Heim dumping Parker Kligerman. We're going to do Nannini using up Abel on the last turn at the Barber NXT race. And then Ross Chastain Pool for the Cup race. Alrighty. So now this weekend, not a big slate of races. This is kind of the most bland weekend of the entire month of May. We have ARCA, Truck, and Cup at Kansas. Both ARCA and Truck races will be on Saturday, Cup on Sunday. And then we also have the Formula One Grand Prix of Miami. So super exciting there. Notable entries for this weekend's races. In the trucks, we have Tony Breidinger for Tricon making her debut. We have Johnny Sauter coming back to the truck series to run for Roper Racing. Ross Chastain and Kyle Busch and Brennan Poole all racing in the truck series, respectively, for Nice, KBM, and G2G Racing. And in the Cup series, we have Brennan Poole running again for Rickware Racing to redeem himself from Dover. We also have Josh Berry making another start with Hendrick Motorsports this weekend, and Josh Bilicki for Live Fast. So that's pretty exciting for him. ARCA race. Who do you think's gonna win? What to expect? Me personally, I'm picking a Venerini car to win. I mean, they're just that dominant. And I'm also gonna take Landon Lewis to finish second to make it 5 straight second place finishes here at Kansas.
Yeah. That's actually that's a great analysis there. I just really want Landon to win.
Me too.
You know, he deserves it. He deserves it so bad, but I'm just gonna have to echo what you're gonna, because I just don't really see anybody else doing the work as like what Venturini is doing. Landon, I just want him to win this race. I think we're gonna see some pretty good racing with the ARCA cars too. I think that you know, in the past we've seen cars, you know, hugging the wall. We might see the ARCA cars switching it up a little bit. I don't know. I just think that ARCA race, I have a feeling that this ARCA race is going to be.
I agree. I'm excited for it. The Dawn 150 on Saturday afternoon. Super excited. And watch out for Frankie Muniz. Just saying, keep your eye out on him.
Points leader.
Dark horse. Points leader as well, exactly. Amazing stuff there. Truck Series, Heart of America 200. Who's your favorite? What's your dark horses? What to expect?
Oh, my favorite. Zane Smith. Zane's gonna win that race. I think he's such on a massive roll right now. He's on top of a mountain. You know, I think it's gonna be really hard to beat that team. That team is so fast too. I mean, they're on such a roll right now. And then you know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb course of Tony Breidinger. I think she's gonna do a fantastic job in her truck debut. And I think she is gonna finish the race. I think she is going to run a really clean race. I think that it's going to be. I didn't think about this. It's going to be Tony Breidinger and Haley Deegan on the track. So that's going to be very interesting to watch. We already have a 3-year or 3-year Haley Deegan
Almost
already
a
been in
veteran
trucks
of the series.
Yeah, been there for 3 years. It's going to be very cool to watch what Haley can do with Tony as well. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
That's going to be really cool to watch. That's going to be fun. So so I'm gonna go out on a limb here with Breidinger, and I think this race is gonna be crazy. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of action. We're going to be seeing a lot of desperation. A lot of these guys in trucks, or ladies and gentlemen, they want to win a truck race. And Zane is just absolutely blowing it out of the water right now. They want to prove something against Zane. Yeah, I think it's going to be a crazy race.
Alrighty. The Heart of America 200 truck race at Kansas. My favorite to win this weekend in dominating fashion is Haley Deegan. And hear me out. I'm being dead serious here. Hear me out.
I'm listening.
All right. The quote or the Kansas motto, right? Ad astra per aspera. It means to the stars through difficulty. This is like Kansas, the heartland, right? This is the heartland of America, where dreams are made, right? I believe it's going to be like Rose Royce singing Wishing Upon a Star. And she is going to get graced with the blessings of Kansas. She's going to fall into a dream with Toto. They're not going to be in Kansas anymore. We're going to be in Gloryland for Haley Deegan's first career win in the truck series at Kansas Motor Speedway. All right, never mind. Let's get to seriousness here. Actually, this weekend, the winner is going to be Corey Heim. I think he's going to redeem himself for messing up completely. Completely messing up at Dover. He's going to take the dub. And then dark horse, Matt DiBenedetto. It's Kansas. I expect a lot of drafting. It's a wide open track, kind of like Texas is. And I think that someone like DiBenedetto, who's got a lot of experience, is going to get the job done here or not get the win, but be competitive for a top 10 here. All right. The Advent Health 400 at Kansas on Sunday. Who do you got?
Okay. My favorite. I'm gonna go with Tyler Reddick, and just because that 45 car has won there for the past 2 Kansas races. Whatever they've got is unbelievably fast, unbelievably good. They've done it with 2 different drivers now. This weekend they're gonna do it with 3 drivers now, in that 45 car. Tyler Reddick's gonna win. For a dark horse, I'm gonna go with Ryan Preece. Pretty dismal performance in Dover. Was running pretty good in Talladega, only to be taken out in some unfortunate fashion. But I think this is a really good place for Ford in general. Kansas and Kentucky really being really good tracks for Ford in previous years. Obviously, we're kind of in a Toyota domination right now. But I think that Preece has a fire under him, and this is a prime opportunity to get a fast car out on track and to get a good finish. What to expect? I don't know. These cars are garbage, and I hate them. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot of more crap out of these cars. I hope to see some very good racing. But I feel like everybody's just going to roll with the top, and we're just going to be seeing single file racing because nobody can race the bottom because this car is crap, and nobody else can do anything about it. They just don't. These cars are almost impossible to, and just makes for terrible racing, because again, these cars are crap. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to be exciting. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But I think it's just going to be another normal Gen 7 single file racing no tire taking crap race. You know, we might see Almirola not take tires for 110 laps and see if that makes it out this time. It almost worked in Atlanta, I think. Just kidding, it didn't. I know it didn't, but he might try out his luck again. I don't know. I just yeah. That's my favorite dark horse and what.
All right. Advent Health 400. My favorite for this weekend, I'm going with you, Tyler Reddick. He's going to win the race, get a second win of the season, kind of establish himself here in the championship favorite. 45 car Toyotas are just so strong at Kansas. Dark horse for me, I got a really, really good feeling on this one. I think Eric Jones. I think this is the time of year. This next stretch of races are going to be really good for him. We've seen him be good in this next stretch of races in the past. And I think it starts here at Kansas. And I think he's going to have a solid top 10 run. And he might just be a factor at the end for a top 5. Also, what to expect. I am going to disagree with you a little bit. The next gen cars have been terrible pretty much everywhere but mile and a halves. Kansas races last year were really good. I thought they were really entertaining. There was a lot of parity, a lot of comers and goers, and the tires wore out a lot, especially riding right around the wall there. It's going to be nice and hot there on Sunday afternoon. A lot of tire wear, and I think that it's going to put on some good racing. And that is my summary for the Advent Health 400 Sunday at Kansas. Also, we'll do the Formula One predictions real quick, and then we'll jump straight into fantasy. And so for Formula One Grand Prix this weekend, another street course. We've seen Perez be so good at street courses. I think he's going to cut into the lead on Verstappen and win the race. And I also think that Verstappen will get a fast lap. I think we'll be tied in championship standings after round 5. Dark horse, I think I want to take Gasly. Personally, I want to see it happen. I'm going to take him as getting points this weekend. That's my dark horse. And I'm expecting a great battle between Red Bull. And let's see if Ferrari can back up their podium finish from last race and do it again here.
Yeah, that's yeah, those are great picks. I think that Perez is going to be pretty hard to beat this weekend. I absolutely agree with you. We've seen though lots of speed out of Verstappen's camp on street courses as well. But Verstappen did win this race last year. I think that the momentum that Perez has right now is everything he needs to go into this weekend and win. Absolutely. So I'm gonna go with Perez as well. For a dark horse though, I'm going with Haas. It is their home base weekend. They're gonna go out. They have all the fight they need. They have all the hype they need. They're home. Gene Haas is probably gonna be there. All the more to perform better and get those cars in the top 10 to get some points. So I would sincerely just like to take the whole Haas team and use that as a dark horse. I think this weekend we're gonna see I think we're gonna see a lot of drama out of these F1 cars around Miami. We're gonna see some mix-ups. Maybe a new winner. It's always possible, especially on street courses. So I don't know. I have a good feeling about this race as well. This race. So I'm just excited to go. To be honest.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this race. Alrighty. So now that we've wrapped up all the race previews this weekend, we'll do our NASCAR Fantasy Live. My roster, 5 drivers. I've got Reddick, I've got Bubba, I've got Jones, Elliott, Harvick. Who do you have?
I've got also Reddick and Wallace. And then I'm pulling out another Toyota driver with Denny Hamlin. And then I am going to go with the Stuart Haas camp with the 4 car, and I'm going to go over to RFK with the 17 car.
Very, very solid picks. I mean, unanimously, we think Toyota's going to win, right?